Good morning, Center 2. Today we're going to be looking at a few rules when we're changing adverbs to the comparative form. Comparative, we know it means comparing between one person, another person, or three or more persons. So let's review some basic rules here. We use ER when we're comparing between two persons or a thing. So if I want to compare Tim and Brady, Lene and Miley, two persons or two things, a book and a pen, a book and a pencil, we use ER. And then we use EST when we're comparing three or more person or things. So if I want to compare Lene with the entire class, or I want to compare William with his entire volleyball team, I will then use EST instead of ER. Or if I'm comparing one home with all the other homes in a neighborhood, then I'm going to be using EST. So these rules are things we already learned when we were learning how to compare adjectives. So it's pretty familiar. Now, there are some differences, and I'm going to stress on one syllable words. We learned syllables. Syllables is, how the words are broken down. For example, the word long is one syllable. If I had the word intelligent, we clap to syllables, it would be intelligent. So we can see that it has more than one syllable. It has 4 syllables. Now, if we look at the word long and we were clapping to it 4 syllables, long, there's only 1 syllable. So all these words are 1 syllables. And when it comes to 1 syllable words with adjectives, with adverbs, we add ER or EST. Now, this is very important because if the word is 2 syllable, 3 syllable, or even more, as long as it's more than 1 syllable, there are different rules to changing them to the comparative form. So you will not add ER, EST to every single word. This only applies if the word is an adverb and it is a 1 syllable word. Okay? So it's 1 syllable. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and look at some of the rules here. Now, the rule that we were following yesterday said that if there is a vowel, I'm just going to write that here, plus consonant, we double the consonant. Just write it in the chart here. This is for a vowel and consonant. Now we know our vowels are A, E, I, O, U, sometimes Y, and we know our consonants are all the other letters in the alphabet. So when you're looking at the last 2 letters of the word, if there's a vowel and a consonant, the consonant needs to be doubled before you add ER or EST. We practiced that yesterday. I hope you guys did well on that activity. Today we're going to be looking at a few other rules. What if there is no vowel and then consonant there? Then what happens? This is a consonant and this is a consonant. In that case, we're just going to add ER or EST. So this will become longer. This will become longest. There's no need to double anything. Let's look at this word. This is not a vowel. This is not a vowel. They're both consonants. So we're just going to add darker, darkest. Good. Now let's take a look at this word. Uh-oh. Is this a vowel? Yes, it is. A-E-I-O-U, and that's a consonant. It's ending with a vowel and a consonant. So we have to double the consonant and then add ER and EST. Double the last consonant. This is the last consonant, and then add ER or EST. So I'm going to go ahead and add hotter, hottest. So we double the last consonant. Now let's take a look at this one here. This is a vowel and this is a consonant, so we need to apply the rule. We double the consonant and then add ER or EST, so this becomes madder and maddest. Now just to review here, we use ER when we're comparing between two and EST when we're comparing three or more persons or things. So an example would be, today is hotter than yesterday. I'm comparing between 2 days. You could also say, today is the hottest day of the week. I'm comparing between 6 other days because there are 7 days in a week. So when we're comparing two things or persons, when we're comparing 3 or more, as long as it's more than 2, we go ahead and we use EST. All right, now we have a word here, pretty. 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 Okay. Busy. Close. Now I want us to pay attention to this word. It ends with 2 consonants, but there's a special rule if it ends with a Y. I'm sure we're familiar with the rule. If it ends with a Y, we need to change the Y to I and then add ES, or then we need to add ER or EST. Okay. Now, if we want to take a look at this word pretty, if we're trying to clap to the syllables, pretty, it actually sounds like it actually has 2 syllables. Okay, so there are a few exceptions to the rule. Usually the words that ends with Y, they usually have 2 syllables, but they still follow this 1 syllable word. Now in English, there are a lot of guidelines, things that could help us to apply rules, but there's always exceptions because the English language is very, very complex. Complex means that it's very complicated. There are always some exceptions to the rules. So whenever we're teaching rules, we always try to share with you guys some of the exceptions. So we're going to be focusing on changing these words using ER, EST, and following the rules. Okay. So pretty ends with a Y. When it ends with a Y, we change that Y to an I, and then we add ER or EST. This should also be very familiar because we did this again when we were using other forms of parts of a speech. Okay, so this should be pretty familiar as well, but let's go ahead and do it together. So pretty becomes pretty. Let me write it here. P-R-E-T-T. I will keep everything. All I'm doing is changing the Y. That Y now becomes an I. Then I add ER. So it becomes prettier. And then I write the word here again. T-T-I-E-S-T. Then it becomes prettiest. And it's the same thing we're going to do with this word here, busy. Busy, another 2-syllable word, but we're focusing on the fact that it ends with a Y, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and write B-U-S. I won't write that Y. I'm going to change that Y to I. And then I'm going to add ER. So it's going to become busier. And then I'm going to write that in the other form, B-U-S. I won't write that Y, I'll change it to I, and I'll add E-S-T. So it becomes busiest, busier, busiest. Okay, and then we have another word here that follows a little slighter difference in the rule. If the word ends with an E, all we got to do is add R or ST. The E is already there. There's no need to write closer or closest, which is like two E's, okay? So if it ends with an E, even though that's a consonant and then a vowel, that as long as it ends with an E, we just add R or ST. So this becomes CLOSER, closer. And then this becomes CLOSEST, closest. All right, this is a little bit funny, a little bit of a tongue twister, but closest, closer, closest. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put an image of this on the next slide that you're going to view. So you can write down these rules in your book. The first rule is ER is for two-person, EST is for three or more. When we're working with vowel and consonant, we double the consonant. Double it like this. If there are no vowels in consonant, two consonants at the end, you just add ER or EST. When it comes to words that end with Y, adverbs that end with Y, we change the Y to I, and then we add ER or EST. If it ends in an E, we just add R or ST. So we're going to be practicing with some of these words today. Do not worry if this seems a little bit like much or a bit complicated. You will be doing a lot of revision work when you go in Standard 3, so your teacher will go over these with you and you'll get a lot more practice.